Hey everyone, so here I am for my House of Comarre book 2, Flesh and Blood by Kristen Painter, sorry. And things I have discovered about this book, let me give you a synopsis first. So again, got it written down here. So when we last left Chrysabel and Mal was a little bit pissy because Chrysabel had promised to find a cure for his curse back in the first book. She was going to go to the Comarre historian and see if she knew anything that would help Mal. Well, there was a death at the end of the first book, and they all got a little sidetracked. So Chrysabel hasn't found an answer. She's feeling really guilty about it, sending Mal her blood. Apparently, Mal isn't drinking the blood because of reasons that she doesn't understand. Basically, when the author switches perspectives, he's giving her space to grieve for the person she lost. And she's mad at him because of something, great big classic misunderstanding. So now, they get that worked out. They're trying to get along. But then there's a new character that's introduced called Creek. And he is part of an organization called Kubai Mata, I think is how it's pronounced, which is basically a band of vampire slayers. And only instead of slaying Mal, it's a new love triangle, basically. If you have read the Anita Blake Vampire Hunter series, it's basically Anita Blake, Jean-Claude, and Roger or Jason, whatever the werewolf's name was. It's basically a different version of that love story. It's just another love triangle. And she wants both Creek and she wants Mal, but for different reasons. And a choice is not made in the second book, in case anyone's wondering. A choice is not made between the two. However, Creek and Mal sort of develop a truce and agree that they're both there to protect Chrysabel, even though she's a pretty rad chick and she can do all kinds of kung fu and stuff. And but they're both basically falling in love with her. Mal, I think, is going to win out in the end just because of the connection that they had from the very beginning. Creek is just fresh blood. But anyway, oh, by the way, Tatiana didn't die. She's still wreaking havoc, still after the ring and still after power. She doesn't succeed again. So now, and then there's some witches. There are witches involved in this one. They have a lot to do. We learn a lot about the shifter Doc in this book. A lot about, and I don't know if I mentioned it before, but Fee, the ghost from the first book, and Doc had a very interesting relationship. They were in love, and something happens to her, and so he's trying to help her in this book, and you discover a lot of his backstory. So again, not really any character development at all in this book. Everyone pretty much stays the same. The situation changes. I did not like the ending of the book. I was reading it in bed. I have it on my e-reader, and here's the cover of to Flesh and Blood. There, you can see it there, Kristen Painter. And for some reason, the cover art just isn't showing up very well on the book, from my Kindle to the computer. But anyway, so I lost my train of thought. Yeah, there it goes. Basically, I'm going to continue reading the book because, as I said before, I have commitment issues, and now I feel like I really want to discover where the relationship between Creek and Mal and Chrysabel is going. I think the most the sort of the weird point that I had was when Creek has to go and get his grandmother for some reason that I don't want to spoil. And it was just weird to think this book is set in 2067, so his grandmother is probably like me. Like, I'm going to be this person in 2067. So that was kind of weird to think about. Remember what I was going to say. So I'm reading this book in bed when I got to the end, and I'm reading it on my Kindle, and I'm going through, and the next page, all of a sudden, it's the end, and I'm like, wait, I don't understand. I don't get it. So, I'm going to continue reading the series, but I probably won't do another review until this series until I finish it, just because there's just not a whole lot to say about these books, honestly. They're very they're just your typical popular romance, but it's playing out very similarly as far as plot pacing goes to Anita Blake. I think that there wasn't really any kind of relationship development, to say the least, until the 6th book, maybe, of the Anita Blake series. And I hope that, and I guess that's why I'm reading this. It's a popular romance, but we're seeing a lot of tension, romantic tension, but none of the romance part. So I'm not going to get the 3rd book for a couple days. I need to cleanse my brain. So probably the next 2 books that I'm going to read have been on my shelf for a while. It's The Once and Future King by T.H. White. It's a collection of Arthurian stories, which I'm a huge fan of. And actually, The Sword and the Stone was based on this book. So I'm really excited to read that. And then the other book that I'm reading is A Blunt Instrument by Georgette Heyer, which I also got at... I got in North Carolina at a used bookstore. Georgette Heyer wrote a lot of historical novels, which is something that I really enjoy reading. This is actually a mystery, so I'll probably read those 2 in the next couple weeks. This month has been kind of crazy. I want to have themes per month to be reads for each month, but I started video blogging sort of in the middle of September, so I don't really have that organization, but I want October to be different. So A Blunt Instrument and The Once and Future King, and I'm going to continue with the House of Comarre series until October. And then I will have a more, what am I trying to say? Structured reading list. So thanks so much for watching this video, guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye!